live. Hey, you guys. Look like it's some folks in there talking already.
Yeah, almost 30 people.
Yes.
They were just as frustrated as we were frustrated. So we can't wait to get our grievances out. We have to.
I know, right? Oh, my goodness. This is, yeah. Well, like you said, we
It's February sweeps.
it is. I mean, obviously, that's the purpose, to get people talking.
Oh yeah, they definitely did that all week.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. You see, Melissa, she said the spoilers next week is Brooke is going to overhear Daphne and Steffy.
Oh.
Let me double check that. Let me see right quick.
That would be an interesting twist.
It's on Thursday. Brooke overhears part of Daphne's and Steffy's conversation. Thursday, February 13th.
Oh. And what is she going to do about that?
Oh, girl, who knows?
Like, because the way she was acting on Friday, I still love you, Reg. I'm like, this idiot.
I know. Girl. Anyway, welcome you guys to Soap Corner Talk, where it's going to be myself, T, and Bree. And we're going to recap both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful for the week of February 3rd through the 7th. This is the first, kind of full week and a half of February sweeps. And I don't know, it looks like they started off February sweeps on The Young and the Restless with the blaze, and then it got mellow.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what was the highlight for the very first week for February. Besides the Damian stuff, that's pretty much it. But Bold, they made sure it was Luna sweeps month.
Oh my! Again, because we just went through this with Luna last February.
Yeah.
Good grief!
She's the month of February.
I know. It's insane. Okay, so let's go here. Oh, let me just go into my little brief introduction. So, we usually recap The Young and the Restless first. We have a little break in between with the housekeeping for the platform and the show. And then we go into The Bold and the Beautiful. And then we have 4 other segments. Flip the script. Who's taking several seats? Star of the week. Pickle of the week. And the Simp Olympics. So, without any further ado, because I know we were a few minutes behind, let me go ahead and I'm going to do the summary of The Young and the Restless. And then we'll break it all down. Break it down. All right, so for Y&R, for the week of February 3rd through the 7th, a new conflict looms for Victor and Jack, and a secret about Damian is revealed. Sharon tests the waters with Phyllis, and Damian does a background check on Nate. Victor asks for a favor of Adam, and Phyllis questions Billy's true motives. Diane makes an eyebrow raising proposal, and Nate ambushes Holden, and Phyllis snaps over Billy's trip to Paris, and Damian reaches out to Nate. All right. So
this week was actually funny to me for a couple of reasons, and it was the Abbott. I don't know. Poor Diane.
Girl, okay, so let's just go there. So Diane decides that, because I was wondering what that spoiler was going to be about when I saw it last weekend about Diane and this decision that she do something. I forgot the way that spoiler was worded. And then come to find out she want to redecorate the house. And I'm like, why? Now, granted, is it older? Yes. But there's a lot of sentimental things in there. And Diane has only been part of this family, a year and a half? Maybe almost 2?
Well, this go around.
On this go around, yeah. I mean, it took her almost a good year to get back in good graces, and then her and Jack got married. And then now you want to change the Abbott estate?
Okay.
I don't know about that.
I mean, look, she the lady of the house. I can understand her sentiment a little bit. She wants to have a piece of her in amidst the Abbott household, because when she walks in and out, it's all about Jack and his family. You really don't see like her like incorporating herself. So I can imagine, being in a position, yeah, what's wrong with like updating the paint? What's wrong with, and she made a reasonable request too. Like, can we like get some safe, vases so Harrison won't break something or hurt himself? That was a reasonable request. Like, she's not asking to do a whole lot of stuff. She just wants to do finishing touches. It's no different if they were to reach out to an interior decorator.
Yeah, but it's Diane, though.
Right, but here's my thing. So Jack trusts her to be co-CEO of a major beauty company, but won't let her change the paint on the walls in their house.
I don't mind that doing the redecoration. I was more on Tracy's side for saying it. I think it's their determination, the family, not hers.
Oh, absolutely. And I think she made that point, like, hey, that's perfectly fine if you want to speak to your family members about that, and rightfully so. But I mean, I don't think there's nothing wrong with her saying like the place could use an update. Even Tracy said, hey, the place could use an update. I don't think she wants to take anything sentimental from him, but she wants to try to just upgrade the house. I think she wants to compete with Nikki and Victor a little bit. But like, I get where she was coming from with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I could see if Tracy and Ashley and Jack or whoever decide that they wanted to do what they need to do to that family estate that was passed down from their parents. Diane coming in after a year or two, nah.
I mean, I can see if she was doing like a complete renovation of every part of the house, but if she just wants to just upgrade the couch, upgrade the paint, and not get rid of those items if they were like in storage or whatever the case is, I don't think she's asking too much. She lives there too. And I think like, you asked this woman to be your wife and she's coming into this home, and granted it's a family home, but she should have at least a piece of it to say like, hey, we can just do little upgrades. We can make it safer for Harrison to make sure he's not breaking valuable items. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, well, I think it's not for her. I mean, for them, yes. Her, no. But the fact that Tracy is like, well, yeah, I talked to Jack. I'm on Tracy's side on this one. Because, I mean, that's why she went to Tracy, like you said. Because it's their decision, So, yeah, I just... Yeah, and like Blackpink Me said, and I think she kind of touched on to what you just said, Diane is just jealous of Nikki's new home. What is your motivation behind it? You've been here a year or so, and now all of a sudden you want to start changing things. It's one thing if she actually don't like the decor, or are you doing this because you're trying to keep up with the Newmans?
Yeah, and to be honest, she had a lot of reasons for why she was jealous of Nikki with that discussion she had with Jack.
Mm-hmm.
She still doesn't like that they're friends still. That was pretty evident.
Yeah, I gotta call out Jack on there a little bit too. I mean, he knows how volatile this situation has been. I mean, Victor pretty much terrorized him for the better of 2024. And he came over there saying, Nikki, are you okay? Oh, yeah, by the way. And he was the one that was shot. It was like, dude, Yeah, not today. Not today.
Yeah. And it just hit us. Sorry, they had like a little tiff for no reason, and it really actually kind of showed Diane's true colors about how she really feels about his friendship. I mean, she's always stated it, but then she's also brushed it off. But she's being very passive aggressive. She does not like the fact that he rushed over to basically see Nikki, not Victor, but Nikki, and how she was doing after Victor got shot.
Now, that's one thing I can agree with on Diane. I just, out of everything that had happened, he almost unalived himself a year and a half ago. And what was that? That was about a year ago coming up. He almost unalived himself and then put him and their son right in the, the crosshairs of her husband, because Victor at that, because they had a whole truce. Victor and him had a whole truce until Nikki manipulated this whole situation because she wanted what she wanted instead of getting a real sponsor in the first place. And so now you manipulate the friendship, and this is what the end result is. And then now, after everything that's happened, now we're back at this square one where Diane is feeling some kind of way. Victor is not happy, which also takes us to the part where Claire is in the crosshairs because now Victor won't interfere in her relationship with Kyle.
Yeah, and
Bree, you still there? Uh-oh. I think we kind of lost her. I can't hear you. Okay, she'll be back. But yeah, it ended up with all of that. Exactly, Reed. Victor and Diane are both jealous of this friendship between Nikki and Jack. And after everything that has happened, at this point, why do you think you need to be so open about that? I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me that that's what they decided to do. Let me see if I can get her back. I don't know what happened. Give me a second. Let me see. I don't know what happened. Probably signal issues or something. Anyway, so now with this whole situation, what happens next? Because the thing is that she's going to want, and we saw this week, she's going to want to defend her relationship with Kyle, which is why she talked to her, her grandmother to try to fix the situation. Cheryl, you think Claire is dangerous? You think she's... Why do you think she's dangerous, Claire? Gail said, do you think that Victor will use Summer to break up Kyle and Claire? You know what? When I saw the... Okay. When I saw the actual spoilers for the, coming 2025 spoilers... hold on. Let me see. Were you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Something told me it was either Claire or Jordan who would hijack this phone.
Girl, you crazy.
But I was saying that both Jack and Victor are going to be ridiculous. So fight with their families, fight through their businesses, whatever the case is. And at some point, they would just have to stop and just let the chips fall where they may and let people just make their own decisions.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But
because Claire's going to learn the hard way, without question.
I know you were I didn't get a chance to see Monday, February 10th episode, so you was kind of hinting to some things in the group chat.
It won't be surprising.
Oh, okay.
Poor Claire. Victor makes it very, very clear where he stands between her and Kyle, and Kyle and Summer too. And I feel Harrison is also hinting at that as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
man.
and I feel like with Nikki, because I think they had a discussion on Friday, Claire was like, can you convince, Grandpa that Kyle's such a great guy and they need to get rid of this Abbott feud? Nikki's looking at her like, girl, what do you think I've been doing for decades?
Right. Yeah, that whole conversation she had over at the coffee house with Nikki, she was like, you're going to have to figure out a way to get Victor out. I'm like, girl, do you know your grandfather?
She don't.
Obviously, she don't. You ain't gonna be if your own mother has stories about how this man had her arrested at her wedding.
Mm-hmm. All because he didn't want her to be with Billy Abbott.
Yeah.
And the conversation Claire has with her mother on Monday, Claire is like, because I think we see in the previews, Claire's like, how do I win a battle with Victor Newman? The way Victoria talked to Claire, she was like, girl, just give that up. That's a done deal. If he doesn't want you with Kyle, he's going to go to the ends of the earth to make sure that happens.
You know what? Let me ask you a question. This is interesting because she got a little bit of courage to try to come at Victor or whatever, right? Even that whole situation we saw with Jordan and how she gaslit Jordan and said, I'm going to, unalive my mother and let's take the inheritance. When she came straight for Ian, she got a little bit of courage up under her, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Victor pushes her hard enough and to interfere with Kyle, could she be because somebody said that in the chat that Claire is dangerous. Could she be triggered to go to the dark side if Victor actually succeed in whatever his plan could be to destroy that relationship?
Then it would show that Claire never changed to begin with. Because if you can switch to your dark side ever so quickly because your grandfather is who he is and everyone in your family, including your mother, says he will never change and you didn't get your way, then you never change like you're saying that you've been doing. And on top of that, when you guys see Monday's episode, she's got to deal with Victor and Harrison. And then what's she going to do?
Okay, so let me ask you this, and without giving too much away. Is Victor using Summer to get back into good graces with Kyle?
You will see some influence that direction.
Then that doesn't make any sense. If you want to keep your granddaughters from Kyle, why would you use one to try to get back into good graces to remove the other?
Well, this is the way I see it. And he really spelled out what he wanted to see for Claire is that, because we also got to keep in mind, Claire is young. She has no experience with relationships. This is her first boyfriend, her first everything. Kyle has been divorced multiple times. He also has a child. And on top of that, he has a back and forth relationship that he's had with Summer. And this man has been making it his mission to put families back together.
Okay.
And I would say on Monday's episode, it seems to be working a little bit for Adam and Chelsea. But that's been his mission, is to put families back together. So it makes sense to put Summer with Kyle because, hey, they share a child together. Whereas Claire is free as a bird. She doesn't have the baggage, none of the issues, and she can really have a fresh start and do whatever she wants to do.
She wants to do Kyle, though.
Well, so did Audra. And you see how that worked out.
Yeah, but like the Abbott say, she has a better influence on Kyle than Summer does.
Right, but Summer also mentioned, I think it was either Friday's episode or Monday's episode, where Summer said to Kyle, like, hey, we didn't have to go to battles with Victor for approval. You have to go to battles for approval with Claire, which is true. But I see what Victor's coming from, and I also see where the Abbotts are coming from. Like, she could be a good influence for Kyle, but it doesn't mean that he's a good influence for her, especially with her being young, no kids,
She ain't that
and
young. That girl
no
is
experience.
almost 27 years old. I mean, she's
But
not
the mindset, though.
Listen, the way that girl handled that situation, she looked like a young Victor Newman.
Right. But if I had a daughter that didn't have any children, got with this man who was divorced multiple times and has a child, a very young child, I wouldn't want her to get involved with that. If she has, especially given what she's probably been through, I would encourage her, I wouldn't tell her what to do, but encourage her to look for other opportunities where she can, one, have her own family, and be with a man who's not going to bring any baggage to her life. That's just me. That's why I kind of get where Victor was coming from.
Victor ain't don't care nothing about nobody's baggage. He don't like Jack, and he don't like Kyle. So, I mean, I understand you coming from a place of, that makes sense. But with regards to Victor Newman, Victor just wants what he wants. He don't like Kyle, and he don't like Jack, and he don't want Claire over there.
And why would she want to encourage that drama in her life for herself within the two families?
Because it's
and play monkey in the middle.
Because it's soapy. That's why.
Oh, true. Very true.
Soapy.
But even her mother is like, look, you're not going to win that battle with Victor. And she's the expert would be Victoria, because look at the men in her life that Victor has stopped. Has he liked anybody?
Well, I guess we'll see how this all works out. I don't, Victor, please. I don't, the fact of the matter, he just don't want them two together because, like he told Nikki, he don't like Kyle. He said that earlier this week. And when you just had the boy using him to stick it to his father, I could care less what Victor think he's trying to do. He just don't like them two. And instead of just leaving that girl be, he wants to interfere with him because he just don't like the Abbotts. He's an Abbott. That was the first thing that Victor said when he had that conversation with Victoria earlier this week. He brought up nothing about baggage. He's only using that as a way to make it make sense to get his real agenda pushed through.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But what he said was true, though. If she has an opportunity to start her own family and not deal with a guy who has all of this baggage, I would encourage my daughter to go that direction. But at the end of the day, she's a grown woman and she has to learn the hard way. And the biggest lesson that she's going to learn is you don't go against Victor Newman. And the thing is, her Aunt Jordan couldn't beat that battle with Victor Newman. What is she going to do?
Victor got a lot of nerve, says the man with 3 baby mamas. Okay.
Goodness gracious.
I mean,
it's the truth, though.
It's the truth. I mean, you got Hope, Nikki, and Ashley, and all other women that caused problems that he happened to bring in that didn't have a kid by. So he needs to take several seats.
Jenna said, I agree with you, T, but Summer is going to try to come between Claire and Kyle, and Harrison is going to do the same thing too. And let's see, she also said, but I also think Victor is preparing his family for his death, which Monday's episode kind of hinted at that. That's why I said he's on a mission.
If he's going to, I mean, somebody...
The actor.
I saw an article about people speculating whether Eric Braden is probably going to, I don't know. I mean, he is, like 84?
Yeah. And he can't, he's going to want to retire and spend time with his grandchildren, and he can't be Victor Newman forever. If he wants to, it's a prerogative. Absolutely, we would love to have Eric Braden on screen forever if we could, but I could understand if he's come to a point where I played this character for 40 something odd years. I'm done. I can only do so much as Victor.
Plus,
and that's true.
When did the LA fires happen? Because he also lost his house.
Yeah, so, that was in January.
I know, but was it like early January? I think it was right after the first week of January. It was right after New Year's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they should be getting ready to come up on the time period that they were filming, and probably in another week or two. So I'm curious to find out, whether they'll have him take a break or how they're going to do that. So,
right, because it wasn't just him. It was Melissa Claire Egan. There's a couple of Y&R actors, bold actors, who lost their home. So I wonder if that's going to play out to where we don't see them on screen for a minute. 45 years. See, he's been on the show for 45 years. Thank you, Gail Lewis. So eventually he's gonna want to make an exit from the show, but that's just what we're thinking. Well, what I'm thinking, but this man, but Victoria kind of hinted at Victor eventually, preparing himself for not being around. And it was to the point where it scared both Victor and Nick of that realization. So this man is on a mission to put families together. So I think he's going to bulldoze his way between Kyle and Claire, but the real one is going to be Harrison. You'll see Monday.
Alrighty. So then we had back to some Abbott business. We had the situation with Billy and Jack, and I like the fact that they finally are able to talk to each other, which is great. He gave him the money to open up Abbott Communications, so that was good. But the thing is, I could not get through the Sally Billy scenes. It was just too boring to me.
I forgot. I'm sorry, y'all. I forgot. I forgot what led them to go to Paris. And it's, once again, no offense to the actors. We love them both separately. But the characters, I just don't care for them together.
Right. I agree. I 110% agree that, to me, Sally and Billy are absolutely boring.
Yeah.
Girl, I fast forward, and they had a lot of content on either Wednesday or Thursday episode. I just skipped through it.
They had like the Chinese takeout or something, and they were talking about wall paint or something. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. But when Phyllis walked in, I was like, okay, I woke up.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, what's she going to talk about? Because, see, from what they were hinting was that there's supposed to be this whole triangle between those three.
I don't see it. When Billy and Phyllis are on screen, I feel like I want those two together. I feel they're the couple.
Yeah, like we were saying for the past probably 6 months or so, Sally belongs on Bold and Beautiful. This girl, granted, no shade to Courtney Hope, she got her Emmy, was it last year, the year before, for the whole losing the baby scene in 2023. So she got that Emmy in 2024. No shade to that, okay? But I just don't see where bringing her over was a plus for her. Because she's just been lost in the sauce. She haven't really solidified anything. Yes, she's doing some interior decorating. Then she's working with Summer and replacing Chelsea. Is Chelsea back at work? Who knows? So I don't know. And then the whole thing, the triangle with Adam and Nicholas, Then now you put them back together only for them to last 2 seconds. And then now she's with Billy. And to me, they just don't have chemistry to me.
Well, don't tell Chloe that. She thinks it's the best thing ever.
Because it's not Adam.
Exactly. I'm like, this is your ex. This was your former baby father. And you just encouraging your friend. And the thing is, the way that she keeps painting Adam out like he is just this horrible person. Well, Billy's not all that innocent either.
Right.
I think she made a point to Sally that he gets with broken women. She said Victoria, Lily, Chelsea.
Right.
And I think she threw herself in the mix. And I'm like, okay, what does that say about that man? And on top of that, he cheated on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Or with them. Mm-hmm. Or a mix of both. So you want that for your friend?
Right. Yeah, I don't. She's just anybody is better than her being with Adam. That's why she was like, "Oh, Billy, yay!" And because at first I was expecting, because the spoiler was like, Chloe gives her a warning or something like that, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, she must go warn her about Billy." It was the opposite.
Yeah. So. And she just took the opportunity to try to drag Adam down. I'm like, you realize, or maybe she doesn't realize that Chelsea and Adam are living together.
Yeah, her other friend.
That she don't ever mention. Mm-hmm. Sally's her only friend now. Yeah, and last I checked, when she was going through all of that stuff, when Chelsea was going through all that stuff with her depression, and she had that great storyline. Chloe was nowhere in sight. Mm-hmm. To be there for her friend.
Nope.
So she traded Chelsea for Sally, and I'm like, okay, well, we see where your loyalties lie.
I need to get in touch with Michelle Stafford and say, where did she get that dress? Her clothes are always on point. She has to have her own personal stylist.
I think she just got majority of the styling budget for Y&R, because all the clothes are always cute. Her and the actress who plays Diane, because everything is fit, tailored to the body, everything. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that dress that Phyllis had on, I like long dresses because I'm tall. And I think Michelle Stafford is like 5'8". I'm like 5'10". So long dresses like that is perfect. She was at Jenna. Jenna said she was rocking that dress.
Yes, she was. And it's flattering. And she the way that she carries herself in the dress, like she owns the room. Mm-hmm. Like the dress isn't wearing her. And that's why I appreciate about Michelle Stafford. And that's why when she walked into Billy's house, I'm like, okay, that's his girlfriend right there. Like, like and plus they had better chemistry. I think Michelle Stafford has great chemistry with a lot of the men on the show, or just the actors in general. But I love her with Jason Thompson. It just fits.
Yeah, because they're two sparky individuals.
Yes, and neither Phyllis or Billy can judge one another.
And they'll go in the trenches for each other. Mm-hmm. Sally is kind of, maybe you shouldn't. You need to be careful. They're trying to dial her down when she was supposed to be like the 2.0 of her predecessor.
Yeah, the Spitfire, yeah, she has the name, but when I watch old episodes of Bold, Sally was that girl. She was always a Spitfire. She was quick to get in your face. The way that she carries herself, that woman owned a room and will eat you up. Mm-hmm. And Sally 2.0, not to say that she doesn't do that. Sally's a beautiful girl, great body as well. Just, she has incredible style, I feel, that fits the character. But to own the room the way Phyllis does.
Right.
Is on a different scale.
Blackpink me said she told me to give her some of my height. She's only 5'3".
But she has to give me some of the height first. I'm 5'1".
Oh man. But that dress does look good on both those ladies. On Michelle Stafford and Susan Walters.
Yes, Susan, she got the closet. Every time there's like an event, like everything is just tailored to this woman.
I agree. Now, Billy was trying to pitch, them working together in the complete project. Daniel was getting on my nerves. I'm sorry. I'm like, look, dude, are you gonna do this or not?
Yeah, because he has options. He doesn't have to work with his mom. That's was always an option. And if you don't trust Billy, you don't have to work with Billy.
Exactly.
It's really that simple.
And I mean, if you still trying to deal with whatever happened with Heather and all this other stuff, maybe you need to talk to somebody. But right now, you got a business opportunity on the table. And Billy is asking him, what do you want to do?
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of people's dream, to kind of tailor their career however they want to. And probably ask for a certain dollar amount at the same time, too.
Exactly. He got the budget. Because at first it was like, I don't believe you. I don't trust Billy. Oh, that's only if Jack give him the money. Well, he said he's not coming after Adam. He wants to do a different type of communications company. He want to run it side by side with Phyllis. And he's giving Daniel the opportunity to choose whatever he want to do. He said, do you want to do gaming? Or do you want to do something else? We got podcasting. We got all types of stuff. And at the end of the day, well, I don't know. Let me think about it. I'm like, I'll be like, you know what, dude? I can't have a pessimist on my staff.
And it's not like he hasn't worked with Billy before. It's just maybe he's just trying to be cautious about what he throws himself into and who he's throwing himself in with. And I'm like, sir, you're working with your mother. Your mother's really no different from Billy.
Right. And then if he can't get himself into this whole idea, then just say, you know what, I'm going to pass on it, for a while. I need to do something else with my life until he watch from afar and see what happened. But they trying to move this thing forward, and they sitting around asking him what he want to do, and he's just dragging his feet. I mean, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Well, we're going to keep it moving. When you ready, let us know.
Jenna, I agree with that. She said, I would love to see Phyllis back in her own company again, doing some great stuff with Billy. I would love for her to have her own business. I did not like this woman begging for a job when she had a whole hotel.
Yeah, well, she sold a darn thing because she wanted to work at Jabot to spy on Diane. So she put herself in these bad positions based on her choices. You left Diane alone, she might have would have had her hotel.
Yeah. That right there.
That was
a
dumb.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Diane still ended up with Jack. You done lost your job, pretended like you were unalived, watched your own funeral, and when you end out of this, you finally got out of jail because she was about to go to prison, and you ain't got no job.
Yeah, that was, and then you see Diane get promoted to something she doesn't qualify for.
Exactly. You went through all that for what? You sold your whole company for what?
Yeah, I agree, Jenna. I hate what Josh Griffin did to her character. This woman is a spitfire. She is tech savvy. I don't understand why this woman doesn't have her own company. I would have loved for them to go down the line and have her work with Sharon, since Sharon owns a tech company.
Girl,
Like,
when did she like who we was talking about? Liam and Nicholas. When do we ever see her go to work?
oh, true.
Well,
Right.
who runs the tech company? Mariah?
Speaking of not qualified, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know, but
She inherited her abusive ex's company.
that she hugged in her dream, saying goodbye to.
Right.
I was gone. I was like,
Oh
what
my
are we doing,
god.
Josh Griffin?
I know,
But
right? Go ahead.
Phyllis she should have owned a company by now.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like her like trying to beg for a job. I think she's trying to weasel her way to say like this could be Abbott Summers company or Abbott Summers communication.
But you know
Like,
what, Bree? The problem is that they spent a better of a year with that whole take Diane down plot, and then they had to redeem the character back and it through her children and everybody else because they wrote her into a corner by trying to set that whole thing up, and then they had to turn around and pull the character right back out, which took almost another year. It sucked.
dang, Dewan. You said I would love Phyllis Summers off my screen. Are you too Blackpink me?
Y'all don't like Phyllis. I guess we
I
don't
love
have
me some
some
Phyllis.
Phyllis fans.
Love me some Phyllis.
Jenna said Diane is still as boring as the wallpaper. Well, you and Trish was hoping that she was still crooked. Diane is boring and makes Jack old, she says. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is funny. Let me see what y'all comments. Read some of y'all comments. Talk about screwed up writing. Josh Griffin cannot write for. Yeah, he can't. Y'all got her back because she left for a while. Gina Tognani was on. Then, of course, she left. And then the next thing you know, you bring her back. You know? So, Jenna says she's boring like a sedative. Girl, you crazy. That is funny. Okay, I guess we got to move on because we got to keep it going. Joyce Chitwood says that she want to talk about Damian. Yeah, we got to talk about Damian. We also got to talk about the other story with Sharon and Phyllis because and let's get that out the way. So, first of all, there was a conversation over at Society where Daniel Summer and Phyllis was there, and Phyllis found out that all of the charges were dropped and that Phyllis was like, oh, she can't get away with this, she still framed you. And Daniel was like, yeah, well, all of the charges are dropped, including that, due to the PCP, and Summer confirmed it. So, of course, she's not happy about that. Here comes the meetup at the coffee house with the whole situation between Sharon and Phyllis. And for a while, Phyllis is like, I'm never going to forgive you and all this type of stuff. And then when Nicholas shows up, then it's a whole situation. Oh, no, we're good. Nothing is the problem. No, no, no. Jenna said, please, no more Sharon and Phyllis. I'm so sick of this show pitting these two against each other. I know. And the thing is, remember, you guys, we had a whole bunch of spoilers at the end of 2024 about the two of them possibly being inside of that whole sewer thing. That never happened. So Sharon is still cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Girl, you so funny, Blackpink me. I mean, even the way she was talking to Phyllis, she seemed still kind of wired for sound or something. Jenna says Sharon is no saint. I can't believe they didn't let Sharon do some time. I told y'all she wasn't going to do any time. She went and had that whole storyline for about 8 months only to redeem her by bringing Ian and Jordan and throwing a little PCP in there. Yep. So, yeah, I find it very, very interesting that, even still, she was still talking like she was still on something. I don't know. It was weird. So, all right, let's talk about some Damian business. So, I know a lot of us were speculating whether or not that, what's her name? Amy was faking, And the thing is that it doesn't look like maybe she not faking. Oh, there's Bree. Hey, Bree.
There we go. Sorry about that. It had a whole error message
Are
as
you
I was
serious?
speaking. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, right quick. What did you think about the interaction when Phyllis found out Sharon got off?
I'm like, I feel for Phyllis. I do, but at the same time, it's time to move on. And everything has been spelled out for her as far as what happened to Sharon. She was on the medication, Jordan Ian's participation in that. Like, there's only so much that can be explained to Phyllis. And granted, she should be furious as to what happened as a result of her son and also what happened to Heather. But I don't understand why she's going to Sharon's place of business still if she still has an issue with Sharon.
Right. And it's not, and the interesting thing is, like, over on Bold and Beautiful, they only got one restaurant, Il Giardino, right?
Yep.
Phyllis could go to Society. She could go to the GCAC. You don't have to get coffee at Sharon's place of business if you don't like the girl.
Better yet, you can make it yourself. I don't understand that. Like, if anything, go to the GCAC. Just go to the GCAC.
That's a hotel. Fine. Hotels are known for having coffee.
Yes, almost every place in the world has coffee. Mm-hmm. You do not need to go to Crimson Lights. Mm-hmm. You really don't. And I once again, I feel for Phyllis for what she feels for her kids. Mm-hmm. But only so many people can explain to her, hey, this is what happened. Sharon was influenced by this, but the real culprit was who unalived Heather was this. Mm-hmm. But, she keeps saying that, hey, she's not going to worry about it. She made a promise to her kids. Okay, honor that promise. But more importantly, just don't show up at that location anymore if you don't care to see Sharon.
Right.
Because the person who should be angry and mad is Daniel.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But she's trying to play mama bear and I'm doing this for you and I'm outraged for you. And I'm like, girl, if you don't, he obviously, like, he told his mom, look, I'm trying to move forward.
Yeah.
You're going to have to let this go. And then she got into it with Sharon at the coffee house. But Sharon, I don't know if Sharon Case is still in PCP acting mode. Because even in that conversation, she was talking slow and weird to Phyllis.
Right. I was wondering the same thing. But I think she just doesn't know how to react to Phyllis. And she doesn't know the right thing to say because she even kind of related to Phyllis that, hey, like if I was in that moment and this happened to one of my kids, I probably feel the same way, that I would want justice. So she gets it. It's just she can't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. And like if you have an issue with the person, then why don't you make the effort and not be around them or avoid them and not go to their place of business? Sharon has every right to be at her place of business. You don't have to be.
Yeah. Let me ask you a quick question, and then we got to switch to this Damian thing.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, does it? He seem like okay. So I know he's a dad. He got a teenage daughter and stuff. But the way that they have him dress and carry himself, he just looked like an overgrown boy.
Like like a teenager, like how he dressed when he was running away with Lily 18 years ago.
You know how the other guys, I mean, granted, he's not in an office setting, but the way that they dress him and have the scripting that they're giving Michael Grossaday, he
It doesn't
just,
match.
what'd you say?
It doesn't match.
Yeah, he just looked like a lost, overgrown boy and follows his mama around. I don't know, it's just weird.
Maybe they're just like painting him as this artist type, not really that corporate sort of type. But what I would say to that is even Nick wears a suit.
Right. Or a collared shirt or something.
Right. There's a mature element to that character. And, like, I actually agree with you. I didn't even really think of that. He could use maybe a little bit of styling update because Michael Grossaday is a very handsome man.
Yeah, and even Jenna said Daniel is in his late 30s, not a teenager. He looks like an alcoholic to her. Dang, Jenna. Jenna. I mean, he doesn't. Yeah, he's stuck in time or something. Even Summer is what, and I granted Summer runs Marchetti. Okay, fine, but they could at least have him step him up a little bit.
There's a mature element that they've given to Summer, and even Billy. Like you can see, actually even Claire, she went through a whole metamorphosis herself.
Mm-hmm.
So the same can be done for Daniel. I feel that as a man and a father of a teenager and, he's entering like a new business venture, he should look the part. It would be nice to see him in a suit, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully he say yes. He agrees to this and then maybe they'll suit him up or something. I don't know.
I mean, what else is he going to do?
Dewan said people probably think that he dressed like an overgrown boy.
Look, I think there's nothing wrong with elevating your closet. Like what he can wear what he wears, like on his day-to-day, going to the grocery store, going to the post office, fine. But like every day?
Yeah. He just look, I don't know. And again, this is not to the actor, but the way that they have him going, he just looked frumpy and lost. And granted, he lost his girlfriend, okay? But even before that, putting him next to Lucy, they look like they were brother and sister to me.
Right. I agree. Highly agree. I mean, look at Kyle in this picture. And then Daniel's right underneath him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, complete, like, night and day.
Right.
It's like, who's the real adult here?
And that's the way why... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And even the way that Daniel's hunched over is very...
Yeah, like, the world is on my shoulders. Oh, wow. I mean, yeah. And then the other part is, like, when Lucy was disrespectful, it was easy to see that because he doesn't... Dad is usually a different... I don't know. It was just a weird dynamic to put he has a teenage daughter and he looked just as lost as everybody else. Somebody in the comments section was saying that him and Heather was an odd pair. That he doesn't look like he should be with an attorney. Did you see that?
I did. There's been a lot of recasts when it came to the Heather character. But I always felt that they were good for each other. Like, if we take the career part out of it, they fit each other. At least that for me.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, look how he's dressed, right? And her dressed in a suit or a nice dress or something. It's like two opposite worlds.
Right, opposites attract, though. But I feel like personality-wise and just how cute they were together. I didn't mind Heather, no matter who they recasted as Heather and the Daniel character.
I would
I
have
felt
rather
they
saw Heather with Adam.
now put Heather with Val Bloom. I was missing. We were robbed a chance of Heather and Chance getting back together.
Yeah, that could have worked too. All right, we gotta talk about Damian. Okay, so I know we had thought for a while that maybe Amy is part of this con, but I'm not so sure because she didn't even know who this dude was.
Right.
If she was part of the con, I think maybe it would have went a different direction. But when she came downstairs thinking that she was about to talk to her son, and she like, I don't know who this man Harpo.
Can someone please explain to me how they had a whole private investigator? Amy was able to give Nate a piece of hair and some other form of DNA regarding Damian, but no one can produce a picture.
That's a good point. But obviously, that's why it led to this point.
So the private investigator they've been working with didn't present a picture or any photographs of the Damian character.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What were they paying her for?
Yeah, because the thing is, anytime you have a private investigator looking for somebody in particular, you need to know who you're looking for. Even on that show Cheaters back in the day, for those that probably watch Cheaters, the person that was out scouting, they had to have a photo to say, yeah, that's that person over there with somebody that they're not supposed to be with. So if you on a PI mission, you're gonna need a picture of the guy, unless what was the girl named? Thelma Hopkins.
Tamala Hopkins.
Thelma Hopkins that played.
Yeah.
What was her YNR name?
Oh goodness,
I forgot her name. But unless she's in on the scam, because her as a PI. How did you even get this photo thinking that this is the guy? And you should have verified it with the mom. Hey, is this your guy you want me to look for? She didn't do none of that.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense. Like, so when you were pulling up this man's record, you didn't see a picture of a driver's license,
right?
High school picture, nothing. And that's why I'm not understanding with Amy either. You presented a piece of hair and like the birth certificate, but not a picture, so he can know what his brother looks like.
Right.
And this is why it didn't make any sense. Right? She went all the way out to LA and couldn't lay eyes on her son, but you expected for Nate to just assume that Damian was Damian.
Yeah, I mean, did they do it on purpose by doing this route? I don't know, because it just doesn't make any sense. When you go looking for people, that's the first thing you get is a picture. Who's the subject? Oh, this is the person. You just got. So what did she even? What you pull? Okay, so what did the PI use to find this guy? Did you just pull up some papers and say, "Oh, okay, this must be him"?
Right, and I swore I thought private investigators, they take pictures as they do surveillance.
Exactly. That's why I was bringing up Cheaters, because that's a PI looking at, who's the subject, and they had photos, and so they can match the photo with the person that they're tracking down.
Right. And she kept saying, like, oh, I seen him go in and out of the job. And I think she said he was working at a restaurant or something at one point, too. So
that could have been anybody.
No, exactly. That could have been anybody. Could have been Elmo. Could have been J Money. We don't know.
So they could have been Finn or anybody.
It could have been anybody, and the fact that, that's why between the private investigator and Amy, my half and half ladies, they were on the show half and half, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact that neither one of those women could produce a picture was mind-boggling to me. I can't even put this on Nate at all because he didn't know who he was looking for.
Right, and you negotiating a whole different thing with some guy. Well, his name is Holden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Holden is fine. I thought he was actually Damian. Then they brought the other guy on. And he is adamant about not seeing his mother. And he's running these companies. You got Holden working for you. I'm like, okay, so we got another layer of deception. And so now they bust him out. They send him back. And now, he decided to figure out what's going on. Look like, according to the previews next week, he's going to make it look like Nate is taking advantage of Amy because of her illness. And it's like, dude, you ain't seen your mama in like 5 years. What are you talking about?
Right, and this is the same mama you didn't want to see anyway. So How can you sit here and at least he wants to see her. At least he wants to be around her. Like, what is your excuse? He went through all of this, had a whole decoy to play him, and also avoid his mother at the same time.
Yeah, I'm curious to figure out what the heck is Josh Griffith writing with this. Because just say everything is out in the open, and he finds out Nate is his brother. This man has companies of his own. So, obviously it's not a job offer at Winters. How are you going to bring these two on? What's going to be his next storyline? Building the brotherly relationship? Going after Lily or Audra?
Oh, speaking of which, Holden, he like him some Audra.
Ooh, girl, he like him some Audra.
And you know what? She hurry up and quickly get out that room. She's like, I'll leave you two alone.
Girl, she didn't even respond to that last flirt that he did.
She was trying not to.
Mm-hmm.
You seen that man? Look, we looking at him. Look, we looking at him at the picture right now. Look.
Well, shoot, Nate ain't so bad himself without his shirt on.
No, he's not.
So, I mean, she got some, well, obviously at this point she got options, but she sold on Nate for the moment, so.
And the real Damian, please stand up. And he ain't bad at all either.
Mm-mm.
They didn't brought in all kinds of chocolate for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, he ain't bad himself. Yeah, I'm just curious to see where this storyline gonna go. Gail said the whole Amy Damian storyline is ridiculous.
I agree. It's not making any sense. And I think who said that? Electro Soul Girl. She said that Amy was a private eye herself with Paul, which I think I said that a couple of weeks ago too. So it didn't make any sense as to why it's taken all of this, and that wasn't a real Damian this whole time. They went to LA for no reason. Exactly.
And when they introduced the guy that plays Holden back in December, we was like, oh, this Damian is going to be fine. They made a big hype around it only to give us a second layer of a different Damian. So,
which we're not disappointed.
Yeah, it ain't bad. Not at all.
Now, if you had a choice, you want the real Damian or the fake Damian?
I don't know.
Oh, she had to think about this.
I mean, I don't know, girl. That's a tough one. What about yourself?
Honestly, the real Damian. I don't know. It just, the voice did it for me. Because he sounds just like Nate to me.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't mind seeing him with Lily.
Which one, the real or the fake?
The real one. Well, not
Oh,
Holden, but Damian.
so you want to save Holden for Audra?
He might just come after Audra on his own.
That's definitely in the works,
Mm-hmm.
without question. I wouldn't mind seeing that either.
Mm-hmm. So, but I just don't like how this storyline unfolds. It's just stupid.
Oh, some people they like the real Damian. They said Cheryl says she'll take either. Cynthia says I want all three.
She said, "I'll take a side of Nate and Holden and Damian."
Yeah, Joyce, and Rosemary said, "Give me the fake Damian because he cute." Look, they gave us some eye candy. They knew the Gates was coming, so they had to,
Mm-hmm. They had to
step
put
up
a
the
little
eye
bit of,
candy.
yeah. Anyway,
Because
go ahead. What you
yeah,
say?
because the Gates, they definitely bringing them in on the show.
Girl, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Ooh, Lord, child. An hour too?
Yes, and it's just this fineness at every inch of every episode. I was like, they keep showing the clips of the shows. I was like, oh wow.
Girl, they've been
I
pushing. They have been pushing the show hard this past 6 weeks.
uh-huh. Sharon said they breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now who?
I mean, yeah. Nate, Damian, and Holden.
I mean, now I look forward to seeing them. Now when they read the script, I'm like, because the storyline's not making any sense, and it's just taken away from what the men that we're viewing. But hopefully they clean this up, because I was really thinking that Amy was a scam artist.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she's not.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the real Damian motive for being on the show? I'm still kind of lost with that.
That's why I was asking that question. Then what? No, but I guess the next thing we can get to see him without his shirt.
All of them.
Oh, she said all of them.
We have to evaluate all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. We got anything else for Young and the Restless?
No, I think we hit all the points.
Okay.
I think one more quick thing, because I'm looking at this picture of Billy and Jack. I think Billy, I'm really hoping I'm wrong, it might be playing his brother.
You think
just
he's
to
gonna
get
do
the
what
money
now?
I think he's playing his brother, making it seem like he's moved on in order to get the capital from his brother, and then push for his vendetta, because Phyllis keeps reiterating the fact, like, you gotta move forward. You move on from Victor, move on from this. And I honestly feel this man hasn't. Yeah. But that might be wrong. But that's the only way this man was going to get the money from his brother.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out whether or not he's for real or not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How many people we got in the chat, Bree?
We got 154 people in the chat.
Nice.
And it's been steady.
Make sure you hit that like button. Hit the button. And also make sure you subscribe to this channel. We do this every Friday night. Next Friday will not be a show, so I will let you know. It's also Valentine's Day, so I will be off the grid. And
oh, off the grid.
Yeah, I'll be off the grid. But anyway,
enjoy.
Yeah, appreciate you. But normally every Friday night, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we do spoilers over here, and we do recaps daily. Also on other platforms, TikTok, X, YouTube here, Facebook group we have where the blog for the spoilers on Medium and IG. There you go.
Yes.
Alrighty. What you about to say,
Yeah.
Bree?
I was going to say, please hit that like when we got 58 likes.
Yeah, keep it going. Keep it going. If it's 150, y'all, I mean, at least get us to about 80. Let's see if we can get that 80.
Because we're about to go in on bold.
Oh,
so
my
let's get our
God.
Alka-Seltzer together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What? Anybody? Sharon said Melissa maybe comments are from trolls. What trolls? Y'all see some trolls?
I'm taking a look.
Oh, wait a minute. Belinda asked me for next week. Will I be?
Oh, okay. T
Belinda.
the question.
She said, "Will you be with Holden, Nate, or Damian on?" Oh no. It'll be much better.
She said that she got a whole other situation.
Yeah. She is funny. That's a good one, Belinda. That's a good one. Shoot, Blackpink Me said Devon is a whole snack. Okay. Abby thinks so too.
Yeah. Enough to put a ring on it.
She was eating that snack all over that penthouse, on the floor, on the piano, on the stairs. Yeah.
It was enough to break up.
Right. She had crumbs all over the place. She was so much of a snack.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go ahead and dive into the bold and the beautiful. Hold on one second. All right. So, for the bold and the beautiful, for the week of the 3rd through the, hold on, I hate when this happens. There we go. The 3rd through the 7th, Finn's world implodes as he discovers that he's Luna's father. Hope walks in on Carter and Daphne, and Finn confronts Poppy with a paternity test. Steffy and Daphne adjust the plan, and Finn go ballistic on Poppy. Brooke lays a guilt trip on Carter, and Poppy begs an infuriated Finn to keep the secret. Brooke pops in on Ridge, and Finn prepares to tell Steffy he's Luna's father, and Luna listens in on what's that boy named Will and Electra.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and get the bills thing out the way, because I don't know. That whole thing is just so stupid to me. The man is locked up in the house right alongside Luna. Everybody's wondering where he is. His son Will been checking in. We saw Liam come in today, and it's odd because Bill is the type of person who comes into office. He's always out and about, and you stuck in the house for some reason.
Bill has a lot going on, and I don't think he thought any of this through. He got people showing up to the jail to look for Luna. He talking to his whole security guard saying, "Don't let anybody in," and then you see Will making his way through the patio to the living room.
Right.
So the plan is not working. And if he wants to throw suspicion off of himself, he needs to just show up to the office, to show up to work.
I mean, the whole thing is dumb. You not locking the doors. People can walk through the front door, through the back window. We saw that a couple times. And she's just roaming the house, eating bonbons and laying on the couch, reading magazines. But you don't want nobody to find this girl?
You know what would be beneficial if he told her, "Go to your room."
Right, but he don't do that. They sit up in trauma bond for the last 3 weeks.
My mom was this. Well, my mom was this. You know what? I can understand Luna. This is a young girl, and all she knows was her mother. But where is this animosity coming from Bill?
Right.
All of a sudden, to the point where he's sharing all these deep, dark things to Luna, but he's never shared it to his precious Katie.
Yeah, that whole thing. Girl, every time they show those scenes, I'm like, why? I don't know what was worse this week. Like I say, the Billy and Sally scenes or this whole thing at Bill's house.
Well, I can at least, say the Bill scenes are a little bit more memorable. I can't remember any dialogue from from Billy and Sally. In all
Right, so it
honesty.
was boring with Billy and Sally, but this whole thing with them rehashing their "oh poor me" because our moms were horrible for the last 3 weeks, it's just annoying.
And you know what's annoying? This girl just hopping up off the couch, off the floor, trying to like tuck and hide everywhere. And I'm like, girl, go to your room. You can do the same thing in your room. And you don't have to worry about hopping every which way. You don't need to be in the living room. And especially if the whole purpose is for no one to find out about you.
Exactly. It's just
This is insane. Will literally walked from the patio to the living room like it was nothing.
yep.
So he's not listening to security because once again, he lived there.
Right.
He lives with Katie, but still that's his house too.
Yeah. And I thought Liam still lived there. He don't live there no more?
Right. I'm like, you were on your daddy's couch. What happened?
I think I don't know. They've been doing a lot of topsy-turvy rewriting, anniversaries moved, people's birthdays moved. It's just how do you keep up if you keep, and we'll talk about more cuz this will definitely apply to the whole thing with Finn and Poppy. Ugh, all the rewrites. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, girl, I don't. I'm just over that thing at Bill's house. And then what happens, because we also saw Poppy go up to the prison looking for her daughter. And that guy is like, well, she's still in the prison system, but I can't tell you where she at. How do you keep that from a family member?
More importantly, why are they not going to his superior?
Right.
They're just taking his word for it, and that's it, and is walking off, and then go hang out at the restaurant.
Right.
No, that my child is in there. I want to see her. If she's still in the prison system, make a way so I can visit her. What if the mom was trying to set up like her to meet with an attorney or something?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to release any information as to what happened to her, why she was released, where she's been released to.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting upset with them asking you the question, and they have every right to do that because you're not saying anything. Bill has not thought this way through.
And my thing is, I'm curious to find out, and obviously we'll get that at that point. When Finn, because, we saw him go up there, which we'll dive into that storyline in a little while. How they gonna get this girl out his house? What Bill gonna be like, no, she gonna stay here? If Finn decides to go get his daughter, somehow, which it's not gonna be obviously next week, because he gonna keep that secret, unless there's something he do on the backside that don't nobody know nothing about. But how is he gonna pull that girl out of that man's house?
I'm her father. She needs to come with me, and I think she would do it, but she's underneath Bill's control. Kind of like he's a parole officer, but not a parole officer.
Exactly. I mean, he is legally responsible for this person. So how is he gonna supersede that if Bill don't want to let go, since he's the legal whatever? Plus, he gonna have to deal with his family because they're gonna like, why did you do that?
And and that's why I'm really hoping Ted King. I'm really hoping they keep him on because he's a criminal attorney. I can see Finn turning to his father for help, and I think Jack would do this for his grandchild.
Probably so. Yeah, Jenna, it doesn't make sense. I don't even know why they did that. They could have left that girl in prison as is.
Yep.
While this whole paternity thing came out, and then just let them figure it out. Putting Bill in the middle of this was stupid.
I agree. Or you know what, they could have like, because they still had that set for like Poppy's apartment. I understand it's demolished, but they still had that set they could create. Say like, is it like another like specialized office that Bill had or something? It had her there instead of at his actual house.
Right.
And he could have kept visiting her, providing her food. She could have been laying around on couches there. But he put her in a position to where someone could catch her. That makes no sense.
So obviously with this storyline with Luna, you know, it ties, it's her and Finn's paternity. It crosses multiple characters. I think we said that before, which we'll get into. Let's get the nose out the way too. Miss Daphne Rose the nose.
Oui.
So obviously her little plan is not moving as fast as she thought it was going to be, Steffy. Because I guess Carter ain't moving as fast as he think. I mean, as they thought.
Well, first they need to give this girl a few more extra words to say. Because all she's saying is it's like she's repeating what he's saying. Like, I like that smell. Oh, you like that smell, honey? And just, you know, and I understand, like we've been talking about, like the art of seduction. Like, we get that. But they need to kind of, I don't want to say elevate her, but they need to just do, I don't know, give this girl more scripting. Have her say more, like actually have some dialogue, some realistic dialogue with Carter. Like if she catches him in a vulnerable moment, especially since he's wavering his feelings about the company, which we'll get to. But, you know, if she could be a little bit more, I guess, relatable to him, that he would, because he likes a softie. He likes someone who can, you know, he can cry on his shoulder, cry on their shoulder, but it's very cartoonish to me. She walk around and people are just supposed to smell this woman.
Right. From her tossing her hair, her scarf, whatever, you should be able to smell her.
And I'm like, they just sniffing up in the air. Like, put the perfume on a piece of paper, please.
Because she definitely
like,
was
I'm
working
trying to smell
Carter.
you.
Do you think that he was feeling some kind of way and he just jumped back when Hope came in the room?
I think that he is a man and he found that woman attractive and they had a little bit of flirtation and he, you know, was, you know, entranced by that for a little bit. But I think he kind of backed up because he didn't want it to be perceived a certain type of way. But I think he was just doing a little bit of flirtation. Like, and he didn't have to smell her. He could have easily said, hey, can you spray it on a piece of paper, please?
Right. But she was like, you know, smell this side. And Hope walked in and then she was smelling next too. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my, that right there, I was like, what are we about to see here? Hope had more chemistry with Daphne than Daphne has with Carter.
I guess. I don't know. I was hoping, you know, for Carter to just go ahead and give in because, you know, he could take his shirt off.
Here's the thing. The way that Hope just walked in, she wasn't insecure. It's like she was okay with it. And she's sniffing the neck too. Nobody is worried about musk or germs. Like we're just okay with going to people and just sniffing them. And she just tilting the lady's head off to the side and then looking at Carter. And they're all looking at each other. I'm like, what are we about to see on this show?
Well, nothing, because she went in that other room and was admiring Zende.
Oh, now they had chemistry. That little 2-minute interaction She said a few more words. She smiled. The way that I don't know what it was about Zende's tone, but he changed his whole demeanor when he saw her. And that man was like he was trying to put the moves on her. I loved it. I loved their interaction.
Yeah, but I didn't like the butterfly shirt though.
Oh Lord, y'all are. Yeah, they're saying Hope and Daphne.
Cowboy. It's cowboy butterfly shirt.
Oh,
I'm like, dang, why y'all put that man in that shirt?
I don't know. They losing their minds with the styling with some of the people, but yeah, even with that, they still just had that. They had a little spark of chemistry. I liked it with those two. And Bobby Ray and Sharon, I agree. Together. I think they might put them together. I don't think that's going to be the last interaction they have.
Interesting. Well, I mean, she needs somebody. I mean, but okay. So are they obviously moving Zende up in age group? Because they had him originally down with the RJ Luna age group when we know Delon DeMetz is in his mid-30s.
And you know what? That's actually the age that Zende should be in. Because when I look back at the older episodes of the show, he's technically supposed to be older than Steffy. Because when Kristen and what's that man's name? Is it Dante? I can't remember. They picked up Zende when he was 10 years old. And Phoebe and Steffy, they were like little itty bitty kids still. I think he might also technically be older than Thomas too, but they aged him down to fit a certain storyline. So I'm not sure why they're kind of playing yo-yo with his age. They did the same thing with him and Nicole too. This man should technically be older than Steffy.
Which would put him in his late 30s. And even the actor himself is like 36, 37. So
and they age him up.
Right. And so by moving him out of the Luna and RJ arena, putting him with Daphne, I'm assuming Daphne, because Daphne is friends with Steffy, they're probably close to the same age, which put him in an older age group if he ends up dating Daph.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. That's where he should be. I didn't like that they tried to put him in, the same category with RJ and Luna. It makes more sense to put Luna and Elektra and Will because that makes perfect sense.
Right. Exactly. So we'll see. We might get a little bit of heat from Zende and Daphne.
So. I didn't mind it. Miss Peppy looked cute.
Girl, all I know is that we did also have a scene over at the house with Ridge and Taylor kissing, and them shoes. I'm like, and I be on edge because I'm like, oh, I hope she can walk in them shoes. Them shoes are so high.
See, this is why we need some of your height, T. Look.
Girl, I'm wondering how tall is she because...
we the same height.
Oh, she's 5'1".
Yes.
No wonder. Because by the time they put them heels on her, she's still not tall as Torsten.
Right. And Torsten, I think he's about 6 feet. Or 5'11", 6 feet, something like that. But Rebecca, I think they showed behind the scenes where she was on a crate or a box. I don't know which soap. I don't think it was Bold. It was another soap. But yeah, she's one of the short queens. So I understand her struggle and having to wear those big old heels I can understand from the camera eye level perspective, she has to kind of be the same range as some of the actors. But yeah, 5'1", that's the 5'1" life.
But okay, so you tell me this, Bree. I know you wear heels.
Oh yeah.
Okay, There's gotta be some heels that look real cute and dainty. They give her those platform shoes.
But the wider the heel, the more steadier your balance.
So maybe she can't walk in high heels. Maybe, I don't know.
It's kind of like a thicker heel is going to make sure that you're able to walk in. If it's a skinnier heel, you risk of like hurting yourself a bit.
Okay.
But I think we've seen her with a skinnier heel, because when she had that copper dress, I think she had a strappy heel.
Yeah, well, that doggone. Every time I see her, I look straight at her feet. And I'm like, oh man. And I'd be like, I hope she don't fall in them shoes.
Because if you compare Krista Allen was a tall girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they had her wear flats. And then we got Rebecca Buddick, and she's teeny tiny, so she still has to match like the same eye level. And you got like Jacqueline, who I think is like 5'4", 5'5".
Mm-hmm.
And even with the heels that Rebecca wears, Jackie's still kind of towering her a little bit.
Yeah. I think Annika's like 5'7", 5'8", isn't she?
No, she's short. She's a 5'4", 5'5". Annika, is 5'7", 5'8". I'm sorry, I got Jacqueline and Annika mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Annika's tall.
Mm-hmm.
Because she towers.
She's taller than
KKL.
Steph. Yeah. Yep. Jenna said I'm tall too, but I can see why they. I know they're the reason that they're doing it, but I just sometimes I'd be so scared for like, oh girl, don't roll an ankle or something.
Sometimes it happens, but like if she wore like a wedge heel and they have her wear like longer pants, it won't look as obvious.
Mm-hmm. All right, so anyway, we also got to see Brooke back on screen, because it looked like we hadn't seen her for a few days since this whole Finn and Poppy thing was going down. And Brooke is having buyer's remorse, because choosing to buy into what Hope and Carter did with the CEO and her stupid plan. Now the fact that her man ain't beating down her door. Now she says, shoot, I gotta do something. I gotta go talk some sense into Carter.
Look, I don't feel bad for this woman at all. This is the same woman. Didn't she slap Reg and say like all those disparaging things you said about my daughter? Go be with Taylor. Go be with your number 2. I can do better than this.
Girl.
And then a couple of days later, I miss Reg. Make up your mind.
The man hung up the phone on her.
Yeah, thank you. I almost forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you got buyer's remorse now after all of that. He didn't call your daughter a B to her face. Mm-hmm. He called her a worthless S directly to you, and confidently. He also said, you need to get her up out of this house. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'm not staying here.
Yep.
Called her stupid, dumb, everything.
And Carter just showed his true colors. Part of him did not want to do this, but he did it only because Hope got fired.
Yep. That was clear and evident.
Yep. Because when he got into this whole conversation with Brooke about, look at what they did to Hope. They fired your daughter. And she like, yeah, but just as bad as you trying to call them out, you did the exact same thing, dude.
Yeah. And then he tried to justify it. And then I kept saying this in the chat. Mm-hmm. He had the gall to say Hope for the Future wasn't canceled based off of stats and figures.
Girl, when there was, I even put it in a video that I did probably 2 months ago, where that clip one of
Yep.
you all shared, where he was
Mm-hmm.
talking about how it is not underperforming,
Yeah.
and he was
And he,
shocked when, remember when Steffi was like, "Oh no, we're gonna keep the line," and everybody in their room, including him, looked like a deer in headlights. Like what?
he looked mad after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
But he once again blaming it on Steffi. If it wasn't for Steffi firing Hope over personal issues, we wouldn't have this. No, Hope for the Future failed because her leadership was failing.
Yep.
She was focused on other things besides her line. And that
Yep.
was evident. And there was 4 quarters that
Mm-hmm.
she had and failed. And there
Mm-hmm.
were scenes where buyers were canceling the orders.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's the numbers guy.
Yep.
He said you can't ignore black and white. He even handed her the binder, handed Brooke the binder. So they can't dispute and say, hey, this is Steffi's doing. He
Yep.
said this.
Yep. You're absolutely correct. And for them to make it look like, oh, she was fired for personal reasons, not because of her line. It's like, oh God, the rewrites is insane over the past year, 6 months to a year.
Yeah. It's none of this is making sense because we as the viewers, like season 37 was just last year.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people who can remember stuff from season 37 and say
Season
like
37 ended in October.
exactly. And we can pinpoint things that were said on the show that contradicts what's being displayed on the screen for season 38. It's insane that he tried to justify his reasoning, saying that Steffi made it about personal issues, and that's why he had to feel he had to take over and make things fair for everybody.
Right.
And he was the numbers guy who
Yep.
also worked side by side with Steffi.
Yep. And now he got something to think about. I lost my bromance with Ridge, and I mean, a lot of what Brooke was saying was true. That Stephanie and Eric built this with their bare hands over several decades. And because you worried about Hope's line, you go and take the entire company? And then even Brooke was like, who's designing couture? Oh, we're trying to figure that out. We were saying that, remember?
Yeah. Because it can't just be Zende.
Right, Zende can't. You got the bedroom line, you got couture, and you got Hope for the Future that we know of. So y'all, and he put the money into Hope for the Future when he came, and got in charge. So
Yeah.
what's happening with the main staple of the couture dresses?
Exactly. Like he wasn't thinking any of this through.
Nope.
He was so focused on the luxury brand, and he was talking about purses, shoes, belts, handbags, umbrellas, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
He was so focused on that. But don't you need designers?
I mean, even with the handbags, unless you're selling somebody else's product, you need a designer to design the handbags.
And so far, all he has since he's been in leadership is just Hope for the Future reboot and a perfume.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how do you guys make ends meet for your business?
Yeah, girl. And that's why this whole thing, we're working on it. Working on what? You should have maintained that first. That's the bread and butter.
Exactly. And TA is right. Carter is looking totally incompetent trying to run Forrester Creations. He just proved with that discussion with Brooke that he made his decision to do a coup for Hope, which is a personal reason, nothing to do with business.
Right.
Everything he just accused Steffi and the Forresters are doing.
Yep. I agree. So we'll see what he decides. I mean, she obviously used that plan And then go ran to Ridge and say, you know what? I talked to Carter and looked like he might be thinking and having second thoughts. But the problem with Brooke's plan is that she want Hope and Carter out that office, but she don't want Hope to lose her job. Do you actually think the traders should continue to work there after y'all get the company back?
Nope, I wouldn't.
Brooke is rallying around her daughter because she was like, I'm trying to protect him and I'm trying to protect my daughter. And I'm like, you really think if Ridge was smart, which, first of all, I would think about that. Be like, okay, so he gonna get my company back. What does that mean for you, for your daughter and Carter? Should they get a job back? Oh, she made him. You know she gonna say she made a mistake.
She made a mistake. If it wasn't for Steffy and her vendetta against the Logan, I can already hear that. And what I will say about Ridge this go around, he's not hearing anything that Brooke has to say.
Right.
I was so appreciative of that. And yet he stood up for his daughter. The fact that he was like calling her out, saying like, look, you should have stood beside me and my father and not accepted the position.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. But you want to be the captain of the team and call it and saying that you're helping. Mm-hmm. Helping how?
She helping her daughter. She's going to try to make sure that she get Ridge back. This is all self-serving. She want to get back in a relationship with Ridge so he can dump Taylor, and at the same time make sure that her daughter's covered, and that even if Ridge and Eric get the company back, they ain't gonna do nothing with her. But like, who is that? Somebody said in the chat, where'd it go? Angela Atkinson said, oh hell no, throw them out.
And that was Ridge's sentiment. Because I think in one of the episodes he says Brooke won't even have a place there once they get the company back.
Yeah. Why would you keep them there? They betrayed you in one of the worst ways possible. And Brooke is trying to figure out a way that her daughter is covered. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Alrighty. The last thing we got to do is this whole Finn debacle. So Finn decided he didn't want to listen to Poppy because Poppy was saying there's no way that this kid is yours. He took not one but 2 DNA tests, and both of them came out positive. There's a lot of issues with this, but I don't want to give myself a headache.
It made me dizzy. I'm just the conversation that Finn and Poppy had. She said, well, I knew it could have been a possibility, but it could have been multiple different people. It could have been you, could have been Bill, could have been Tom. It could have been a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, because she told Finn that, I honestly, this is the only small piece that I believe of Poppy. Mm-hmm. I honestly don't think she was sure who the father was.
Right, with how loose that she admitted to being.
Yep.
Look, I believe that. I think, but here's the thing: your daughter was suspecting and trying to figure out who her father was, and this tiny part. I agree with Finn. They could have figured that paternity out years ago, because look at where everything has kind of led to now, where 2 men are unalived, because this girl felt so strongly about trying to frame one man, well, not frame, but trap one man into being her father, and then thinking by trying to get rid of the one who she thought was her biological father. Mm-hmm. And it didn't have to happen. Mm-hmm. Like, granted, if she went through a whole football team, okay, fine. You have access to Finn. You guys could have had that test done.
Mm-hmm.
But
a lot of things would have had to happen, because if they did a DNA test back years ago, that would have severed that family. That's well before even the Sheila thing came out.
Well, according to Finn, that was been perfectly fine with him.
Yeah, right.
I'm just like, he wasn't even thinking about like how this is going to devastate his mother. They barely talked about Lee this
Well,
whole
she
week.
did. She was saying that this secret coming out will ruin her relationship with her sister. But Finn was like, no, it got to come out. And I'm thinking to myself, you do realize that this is going to crush Steffi and your mother.
Yeah.
The fact that y'all slept together.
Yeah. But more importantly, Lee, of all people. But not the, I mean, Steffi, I mean, look, that's a whole other separate ball of wax. But Lee let this woman into her home because that was her family. She trusted her around Finn. That was her adoptive child. And then they carry on something secretly. And then just been quiet. And you know this woman has hostility towards you for some reason because she knew in the back of her mind you weren't acting right in her house.
Right.
So, and then you gaslight this woman.
Yeah.
I feel so horrible for Lee. I cannot wait for all of this realization to come out for Lee because Ben would have to explain himself. Same way they keep saying, oh, this is a beautiful thing. You know, we didn't do anything wrong. We were consenting adults. We had, love and respect for each other. Explain that to Lee.
Right. Yeah, how you going to explain all that we had a connection and I don't regret it until later or up until now? Because they kept flip-flopping with that script. There's a lot of flip-flopping that was going on. Because there was one part where over the past year or so, they made it look like they weren't really around each other, Poppy and Finn, up until she came to stay with them. And then all of a sudden you did hang out with her, or y'all grew up together. And then go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm like, just make up your mind.
Right. And then the other side of this is when it comes to Luna. I really hardly ever seen Luna, and then now you used to play with her. It's like y'all make up y'all mind on what story writers you want to tell the viewers.
Exactly. Because this was a whole mess. There's scenes that I know we saw like in the chat where Finn is talking about like, the girl was afraid of fish or something like that, and that he always was protective of her. And I think early this week or last week, Luna was saying that Finn was the only person that was like a stable figure in her life or a positive figure in her life. But there's been several episodes where they said that Luna and Poppy disappeared over in San Francisco and they were struggling trying to make it and didn't have barely any contact with the Nozawa family. So I'm like, make it make sense because it's making us dizzy.
I totally agree.
Jenna, we have the same sentiment. If you close your eyes, Poppy sounds just like Brooke with this justification for her actions and her feelings. Like, that is insane. The way that Poppy's moving is very Brooke-like. You close your eyes, it's like they're reading the same script.
Well, the other thing is the fact that they really are. They cut out him calling her unpoppy. Because last year we heard a few times, that he called her unpoppy. But now it's just Poppy. You did this. You didn't do this, Poppy. And I'm like, and then first of all, we talked about them romanticizing this whole thing last week. And I don't know. It's just, that storyline is so crazy to me. It's just, yeah, I'm speechless.
It really is. And Angela Atkinson said Poppy's just nasty for sleeping with an 18-year-old child man who was barely an adult. Now, that is the part they also need to clarify with the audience, because, like, how far off in age were they? Because I can see Poppy being like maybe 4 or 5 years older. I think we talked about this even last year.
Right.
Which wouldn't be much of a stretch. Because the way they painted it, talking about they had dance parties and they were close and they can relate to one another. I can't see him being 18 and her being in her 30s. And, then having a close relationship. And plus, the way she was loose and moving around, this girl had to be in her early 20s.
Yeah. Which means that it put her about, if he was 18, somewhere around maybe 22, 23.
Yeah, exactly. But still nasty, because you knew that was your sister's son.
Yep. But even now, he was like, I didn't regret this until now. So, number one, you kept that a secret. Aunt Poppy had been coming around Steffy a little while. You knew you've been walking around your mama. You slept with her sister and you said you didn't regret it until now. Because a kid came out of it. So if a kid didn't come out and y'all slept together, that was a treasured memory that you slept with your adopted mother's sister?
And on top of that, he felt that Poppy should have just revealed the truth and he could have been a better influence in Luna's life. Completely disregarding the fact that he was 18.
In college.
Disregarding the fact that, yeah, exactly. Trying to go to pre-med.
Right.
At that. And then disregarding how his mother would react to all of this.
Right.
So, and he felt he was going to be a better influence? Hell.
Girl, he's the Lulu. Both of them are the Lulu. She's delusional for him to keep this a secret. And also to talk about what we share was special. And he's delusional because it's all about him and what he shoulda, coulda, woulda did. It's like, dude, this is not just the usual some woman that you happen to sleep with.
Right. Like, if it was a girl that you met in college, okay. Like, that I understand that you can be mad, whatever the case is. But this is, like, weird how they're justifying 1 minute that they were consenting adults, that they had feelings, and it was special. And then you have Finn saying that, once I realized what I was doing was wrong, I'm glad that we stopped and, we switched gears.
Right.
So he switched gears calling this woman Aunt Poppy after sleeping with her.
Yeah.
I'm just...
And you know what? I mean, we pretty much let them 2 kisses go a while back with Liam and Steph. This takes the cake. This just wipes all that out.
Without question.
Sleeping with your mother's sister, even though she was adopted, but sleeping with your mother's sister and a kid came out of that almost took your wife's life, that make them kisses look like Sleepy Town. Exactly.
Bobby, right? Exactly. That was my thought too. Is AI writing the scripts? Chat GPT writing the scripts. Oh, Lord.
I gotta give it, and he probably gonna get my star of the week for Bold, which is Tanner, because to see him step outside of himself and he was screaming and yelling, that's the angriest we've ever seen Fan.
Yeah. Great acting. For me, I feel like this storyline is really going to showcase Tanner in a completely different way. And see him more in a leading category sort of role and different range of acting. Because, regardless, I don't want to say regardless, but if we took the fact that he slept with his aunt out, this man had a long lost child that he wanted, that he could have raised. And I can understand being a man, you being angry, and he did convey that very well.
Yep. So I don't know what Finn was going to go to the prison, to tell Luna that he was the father. I think it's like, so. Did he actually I don't know what his plan was, but that part right there, I'm like, you just gonna go drop this on this girl that, oh, by the way, I thought I was your cousin, but I'm actually your daddy. And the reason why I'm your daddy is because I slept with your mama.
Yeah. This is why I think he's going to reveal this to Steffy. Because I think in the preview, Steffy was talking with her parents, and the look on her face, like she didn't know what to do with herself.
But I don't think she finds out, though, because the spoilers are out for next week. Mm-hmm. And by Wednesday, Poppy is still begging Finn not to tell about Luna. And let me see. Okay, so that's that. Finn struggles emotionally on how to tell Steffy the truth. That's on Monday, but by Wednesday, he still hasn't done it.
Yeah.
So what you saw, he must have said something else, because it got her thinking, like, you know, I something don't feel right about this, or whatever she said.
And I'm like, so what are you going to do with this information, sir? Are you going to try to get your daughter out of the prison now? Mm-hmm. How do you, like, he quickly went straight to the prison, and no regard for his mother, no regard for Steffy, who planned a whole anniversary.
Right.
And I don't think he understands the weight of those words are going to be for those two women. Hey, Luna is my daughter. Mm-hmm. How do you explain that? And he can't have this expectation that Steffy is just going to be okay with it.
Yep. Yeah, girl.
Do I feel Lee would forgive Finn? Yes. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, it's a different dynamic. That is her child, and that's also her grandchild. Mm-hmm. So she can't dismiss him, whereas Steffy can walk out and leave.
I agree with that.
And this co-parent with Finn with Hayes. Mm-hmm. But Lee's gonna write her sister off. There's just no coming back for them to have any relationship at all. But I think Lee's gonna be extremely upset and disgusted and mad. But I think she's also going to feel some sort of sympathy for Finn, because she's going to feel he was taken advantage, like Keisha was saying. I do believe that. And also how Luna was raised because of, like, Poppy's antics and the fact that she took advantage. I think Lee's going to be more forgiving for Finn versus Steffy. Even though Steffy has no reason to judge at all, given that she slept and lost her virginity to Rick. But, you know, I'm curious to see what his game plan is before he says anything.
This is all nothing but a redemption arc for Luna. That's all this is. I mean, Bell had already said in some interview that he did that, you know, he wanted Lisa Yamada to be a part of that new group of kids or young folks that's, you know, going to be in the show, like Will, Electra, and, you know, the rest of those folks. So how do you get her out? That stupid storyline back last summer by Unalive and Hollis and Tom put her in prison. So they like, dang, we want to keep her around. How do we get her out of here? Well, let's just blow up the world. Finn will probably get off. They'll not be happy. He might lose his wife, but, you know, his mom probably won't come down so hard on him. Steffy might see otherwise, but she's not going to want to deal with Finn wanting to have a relationship with her, with Luna. Because this is the same woman that took her out, and she's not going to want Luna around those other girls. You know.
But neither Ridge or Taylor either.
Right, exactly. And so Tanner might lose his wife if he pursues a relationship with Luna. I mean, Finn. Yeah, Finn might lose his wife if, he pursues a relationship with Luna. On the flip side, Lee will look at him being the victim.
Yeah.
And Poppy is the disposable character. Because, they're backing her into a corner. Where does she go? When all this blows sky high, ain't nobody going to want to fool with her. Her sister, Jack is probably going to be pissed. Luna's definitely going to be discombobulated. Bill is never going to want to have anything to deal with her again. And then everybody else is going to be looking at her sideways. So where does the Poppy character go from here?
She'd be best friends with Brooke. That's the only other person who would actually understand. But the only other friend she could really have would be Deacon and Sheila. And I know we were talking earlier about, I think J Money has said something about like Deacon can help get Luna out of jail. I'm like, I don't think Deacon would ever help the person who unalived two of his friends.
Right. No, that is not happening. And if Sheila, that could cause a rift between Deacon and Sheila. Because if Sheila says, hey, that's my granddaughter, and Deacon is like, well, okay, but she unalive Hollis and Tom.
Exactly. And he wanted justice for what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So... And plus, I don't think Deacon has powers like that. He had powers when it came to Sheila, but he's not going to go out of his way for Luna. Plus, he doesn't have like a connection to her except for through a marriage with Sheila. And even she barely has a relationship with Finn to even have a relationship with Luna.
Right.
So the only other people who can get Luna out of the situation would be Bill, which I thought he was just going to absolve it and then just do it. But also Jack, who would be that girl's grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a messy, sticky situation. The way that's why I was so annoyed when Poppy and Finn were talking. They just make it seem so simple. Well, Finn made it seem so simple. Like, if we just tell the truth, people will understand and it'll be okay. This is a domino effect.
Yeah, it affects so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I can't see it really affecting is maybe the Logans.
Oh, no. Well, one particular, that's going to be Hope. This is where she's going to try to reach out to Finn. I really feel she's going to do that.
Well, yeah, but I mean affect her negatively. It doesn't affect, it affect everybody else negatively, but not like Brooke has no association with that,
But it would accept her negatively if she accepts Luna for what she did. Same way she accepted Sheila.
When you say who accept? You mean Brooke?
No, if Hope accepts Luna for what she did, same way she accepted Sheila for what she's done to her family and Steffy's family, I think that's going to affect her negatively.
Well, wait a minute. Tanika Thornton in the chat said Katie and Brooke don't like Poppy either.
Well, I can understand Katie, but Brooke has no reason to judge.
Well, that goes back to what happened last year with the whole Mintz thing and her son and Luna and Zende and all them mixed up in that whole situation. Because she was pissed about that. She was pissed at Zende. She was pissed at Poppy about them doggone Mintz. And how that affected her relationship with Luna and her son.
I agree. But the only person who wouldn't judge Poppy, or really can't judge Poppy, would be Brooke. Just given that woman's history.
Yeah, I just don't see them putting them two in same scenes. They really haven't only been in that one scene a year ago. They haven't even been in close proximity to each other in any scenes or whatever, so.
That could change. I mean, we're finally getting more scenes with Finn and the Nozawas now. We didn't really see much of that last year, and I think that was by design.
Yeah, well, I just think that I think the Poppy character is being trashed just to redeem Luna. And I mean, by the time they get through with Poppy, she's probably gonna want to take off and leave town.
Well, like I said, I'm hoping not, because the girl.
Who's she gonna talk to?
Sheila. That's the mother of her grandchild.
Not if they make Sheila upset on on how she ended up sleeping with her son.
Oh, that's a good. I forgot. Oh, goodness gracious! See, this is such a mess. This is so twisted.
Because I can't see Sheila actually liking the fact that Poppy did that, and the fact that she kept her even though Sheila's cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, but she's going to rationalize the fact that you kept that girl away from her son and all this kind of stuff. I don't see Sheila just saying, "Oh, okay."
Oh, you want to see a scene between Poppy and Sheila, Dewan? I can see that happening, and maybe that might be how Poppy disappears.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll see how it all unfold. Look like, I was going to say Tanner. Like Finn is probably going to sit on this for a couple days before telling Steffy anything. Yep.
Yeah, and they're going to slowly put Steffy and Liam back together, because he had a conversation with Bill, and Bill was asking, like, how do you feel about Steffy and Finn? And I'm like, so they're circling him back around after he made a whole declaration a couple of months ago saying Hope is the prettiest girl over at Forrester.
Yeah, when Will tried to hook them back up again in, what was that, October or something like that, October, November, something like that. I'm like, here we go again. Y'all don't know where to put Liam.
You don't know what's up or what's down, or, like, we don't know what direction we're going. We don't. It's just kind of making us a little dizzy. I'll speak for myself. It's making me a little dizzy, because I'm like, I'm intrigued from a soap perspective, but I do not like the rewrites, because I feel like it's playing with my intelligence, because I know what I saw and what I watched last season, and everything's being contradicted right now.
I agree. I totally agree. All right. We have discussed a lot. Okay, so we're going to move on to our final segments, because we definitely unpacked a lot. We're going to start off with our flip the script, which is if there's a particular scene or storyline that we wish we could change, this is where we flip the script. So what you got for Y&R?
For Y&R, I would have been perfectly fine if Amy pretended Holden was Damian. And we find out that she and Damian and Holden are in on a scheme again to try to get something over on Nate. And maybe leading to like a Winters takeover or something.
I got you. Okay. I would flip the fact that Sharon tells Phyllis that, if you don't like it, stop coming to my coffee house. Please. I appreciate you. Like you said, make your coffee at home or go somewhere else.
Oh, actually, I almost forgot about that when I had another one. Instead of asking Jack, I would have loved to have seen a scene where she went ahead and just made alterations to the house. And really seen his reaction.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Alright, what you got for both?
Goodness gracious. I would have loved for Steffy to overhear the conversation between Brooke and Carter. since she already has a feeling that he feels remorseful for what he did, I would have loved for her to overhear that conversation and then try to come up with a different plan.
Okay. My flip the script is Tanner actually looking at this and considering his mom's reaction to all of this, because she brought it up, he didn't. It was all about what you didn't do and what I should have had and what I could have done. And it's like, but what would your mama feel about all that?
Right.
Yeah. So, all right, who's taking seats on Young and the Restless?
Ooh, goodness gracious. First we're gonna give Daniel and that jacket a seat. I'm going to also I'll give Phyllis a seat, and I'll give Claire a seat too.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to give Daniel a seat, but I'm going to give Diane a seat because she's just trying to keep up with the Newmans. She don't worry about that house. She figured Victor going to do all these grandstanding for her. If Jack need to do something for her. Your motives are not right.
I highly agree with that. She's trying to compete with Nikki on all fronts. Housing too.
Right. I mean, like I say, I would accept it better from the Abbotts, like we was talking about at the beginning of the show. But her, you just doing this because you feeling some kind of way. And I don't like people that make decisions through their emotions. And that's what she's doing. Alright. Who's taking a seat on Bowl?
All of them. Poppy and Finn for obvious reasons. Hope and Carter because they should have known better. Brooke for being stupid.
Take the whole show.
That's how I'm feeling. But that's what I but I think that's
the whole list.
I had the whole list. Peppy Le Pew, all of them.
Brooke, because I mean, do this because it's the right thing to do, not because of the fact that you're trying to look good to Ridge. And then you making it look like, how did she say? She said, what we gonna do to change this? As if he gonna actually do something. I guess she's so used to him bouncing back all the time that she like, okay, this time ain't no different. Just come on now. That's what we doing.
Exactly.
But at some point after you yelled about Taylor being second choice and all of this other stuff, just go about your business. Leave him alone. He over there canoodling with Taylor. So, all right. Star of the week for Young and the Restless. Bree. I must have lost her. Let me see if she come in. Boy, these connections be going. Alright, so my star of the week is for Young and the Restless. I'm going to give it to the real Damian. It's nice to have him on board. And then my star of the week for the Bold and the Beautiful is going to be Tanner Novlin. Because I think he did an excellent job with all of his emotions. And how upset and excited. And, and he really got into the acting when it comes to that. But this is a very, very unusual storyline. Hold on. Can you hear me?
There we go. I can hear you.
Okay. So
yeah,
go ahead.
I gave it to the Damians.
Yeah, the Damians. Okay, that's why I gave it to the new Damian. And what about your star for Bold?
Tanner. Good for him. This. I'm curious to see like the range of emotion we're gonna get for him, and maybe we might get a tear.
You're so funny. By the way, you guys, he did a new Liberty Bibberty commercial too.
He sure did. I was like, aw. He backtrack.
I know, it was funny. I'm like, look at Tanner. He posted it. If you guys follow him on Instagram, he posted his new Liberty Bibberty commercial. So
Yeah, and yes, the one we know he can't cry. We gonna be hopeful for him.
that's funny. All right, who's the pickle of the week for Young and the Restless?
The Young and the Restless. Really couldn't think of one. If I were to give one, maybe, maybe Jack.
Okay.
Because he could have, I didn't like the way he was still defending Nikki.
Right, I agree with that. I mean, your wife is looking at you like, we really doing this and having this conversation right now?
Yeah.
And then she turned around and backtrack and say, I don't envy your relationship with Nikki. I'm like, girl, if you don't stop.
Yeah, with your decorations you want to do to the house.
Right. My pickle of the week is the whole scenes that we got with Sally and Billy. I couldn't do it. I skipped through it. After I heard a few things about, I'm like, I don't want to listen to this. Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, I'm over it. And then what about Pickle for Bold?
I'm going to pick someone different. I'm going to pick Brooke.
Okay.
Brooke and a paternity test. Brooke, what is she crying about? She slapped this man and said she can do better, and then she's still trying to find her way to crawl up and be up underneath Reg. And I'm like, that is so pathetic of this woman.
Right. I would say I'm gonna give it to Poppy because she kept talking about how special this was. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah.
To her.
To her, it was special. Yeah. So.
Yuck.
Yuckity yuck. All right, and then anybody get the Simp Award this week?
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Were there any contenders? I mean,
I'm gonna give it to Carter.
You know what? I agree.
Because the way he was up in there talking about this shouldn't be personal, and they fired your daughter, and we had no choice. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? You had a choice.
You always had a choice. He had choices. He could have left the company. He could start his own business. He could have just cooperated and let Hope figure out her own life.
Right. Because
she's a whole rich girl. Anyway. And she's rich.
And yeah. Yep. I agree. I agree. So, all right, you guys. We're going to end it right here. Stay tuned for the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Yes.
So I know people are excited about that. Also, the spoilers coming out this weekend for the week of February 10th through the 14th. And all of the recaps throughout the week. Again, there will not be a show next Friday night, but stay tuned because I might, and I'll check in with you guys as well, because I might do something Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
And so I'll check in to see where you guys are at and if you're available, and then we might. But either way, a notification will go out to you guys, the Soapies, about a date and time for next week's weekly recap. So, but no show next Friday. So I want everybody to be like, what happened? And a lot of you guys probably maybe have some plans or something, or if you have a Galentine's, because that's a thing too with folks going out and hanging out with the girlfriends and stuff like that. Whatever, whether it's your kids, your husband, significant other, make sure you love the people who you're with.
Yes,
give them all of the hugs and chewable candies that they can have without going to the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys. Until next week, we will see you guys later. Bye, Soapies.